welcome back to the channel. And before we get started, I'd like to say a massive thank you to the Drop Back podcast. Now, the Drop Back podcast, personally in my opinion, is the UK's best NFL based podcast, going over the weekly events and all. I think it's great to see the UK pushing forward NFL. A big thank you for them for the support they've given me over the last few days. Today's video is something I looked at a few days ago, but things have blown up. And it's Deshaun Watson. A top 5 quarterback in the NFL rarely becomes available. A top 5 quarterback in the NFL at 25 years old with a 4-year deal never becomes available. But that's what's about to happen. In today's video, we're going to look at why Deshaun Watson wants out of Houston, what's caused that, possible landing spots, and I'm going to give a pretty blunt summary of 3 or 4 teams that might want him, but there's only one team in the running right now, and we'll talk about that later on. But without further ado, let's get straight into the video. This video took a bit of time to make. As you can see, I've got a page of notes of different outcomes and possibilities. But let's get out of the way the things we know for sure. Adam Schefter, NFL Insider, tweeted today stating that Deshaun Watson, from the Houston Texans' point of view, has played his last snap for the franchise. Now you may wonder, how has this got so far? Schefter also tweeted today saying the Houston Texans right now are the least popular job and the least desirable job in football. And similarly, you have to look at that in a different way. With Deshaun Watson in Houston, that's a top 10 job in the NFL. With him out, no quarterback, no assets, it's a different job that no one wants to take on. Deshaun Watson fell out of sorts with the franchise a week or two ago when it was reported he had no say in possible head coaches, possible GM choices, wasn't happy with the new GM they hired. A kick in the teeth seemed to be that they didn't even interview Eric Bieniemy, the Kansas offensive coordinator, for the job, which was at the time Deshaun Watson's number one priority. Now, since that has happened, they have interviewed him or requested an interview, but obviously that won't happen until after the Chiefs' attempted Super Bowl run. The problem with Eric Bieniemy, as a lot of insiders keep talking about, is apparently he's really struggling in the interviews. The man hasn't been given a job. People have got it ahead of him because the interviews aren't going right. Him getting interviewed for the Texans job seems like a mere beg for Watson to stay. But that ship seems to have sailed. Schefter also tweeted today that Watson's feelings can't be underestimated. He wants out of Houston, and it doesn't seem like at this point there's anything that anyone can do to get out of it. So we've now looked at that he wants out. He doesn't want to be there anymore. In a past video, which I'll tag in the comments, or I'll put a card up now looking at, we looked at possible scenarios and we took a step back and looked at previous star quarterbacks that moved. You can go back in the NFL till the start of it all. This has never happened. The best we could come up with was Jay Cutler. When he left the Denver Broncos, 2 first-round picks, a serviceable quarterback coming back in Kyle Orton and a 3rd-round pick. This is going to go way and above that value-wise. But there's a caveat to this. Deshaun Watson has a no-trade clause that only he can waive. Now you may ask, if you're near the NFL, what that means, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a no-trade clause. His contract means that the Texans can't just trade him unless he decides to waive that clause and say, no, it's okay, you can trade me there. This gives Deshaun Watson the complete anonymity of the situation, complete control of where he wants to go. Now I'm going to present a few different teams that could look at getting him, and then we're going to sit back and we're going to talk about where he wants to go, why he wants to go there, and the scenarios they have. The first team I look at, I thought about a few days ago, but there was murmurings that the Jets wanted Justin Fields at 2, and then there was another murmuring that they wanted to keep Darnold. But Daniel Jeremiah, another very good NFL insider, tweeted earlier on today talking about the Jets' possible package they could present. The 2nd overall pick this year, knowing they have a pick in the 20s this year, a 1st-round pick next year, knowing they have a 1st-round pick again next year, 2 in both years, 1st-round pick in 2023, that would accumulate to 3 first-round picks, but only truly one draft in 2023 they don't have a first round pick. On the bonus side of that, they can trade away Darnold for more assets if Houston don't want Darnold, and if Houston do want a quarterback, Darnold might be one of the best on the market. Darnold's shown in glimpses he's a great thrower over the ball and has a great eye for the game, but I just don't believe his team set him up for success. What I always thought is that a good coach makes a quarterback look bad when it comes to the opposing team. And that's exactly what Miami did against the Jets this year, for example. Brian Flores has proven to be a good coach in the NFL, and he played a scheme which was really simple. We are going to rush 7 or 8 players every snap of the ball, and the Jets got their big plays. But he knew soon enough there'd be the turnover, there'd be the dagger that was too much to handle for New York, and it happened. A quarterback with that singular weakness of 7, 8 players rushing, you can look at the quarterback and say, well, that's a problem. But at some point you have to look at their own coaching and their own play calling and say, well, if you know that's his issue, why don't you protect him? Sam Darnold fell into the worst possible hands in that draft. The Jets traded up to take him, and he never seemed to really step off. But he's a beautiful throw over the ball, and I think under good coaching, if he goes to Houston, it would be a great move. So that's a team that I have saying has value to go get him. The next team is going to be a team that I think he fits in well and is the best fit. A team that would want him, but is going to struggle for the assets. And that is the San Francisco 49ers. The problem the 49ers include is that the main package is picks and it's a quarterback. 49ers picks aren't going to be great, and Jimmy Garoppolo's not great. So they drop right down the pecking order of teams who could look to pick him up. But I think if you put Kyle Shanahan and Deshaun Watson in the same offense, it tears the NFL apart. Now, we've beat around the bush long enough, so let's get to the real nitty gritty. A week or two ago, when this was all talked about, the murmuring out of Watson's camp was he wanted to come to Miami. That was just a murmuring. There was nothing pushing it. You looked at all the Miami insiders and they were just talking about how it could happen, but no one believed it. As of today, Schefter tweeted again, Deshaun Watson officially wants to come to Miami. It's his preferred destination. But this time he's given reasons. Miami has no state tax. He says he loves the way Brian Flores has built a culture. And most importantly, from the Texans' point of view, they have the assets. Miami has more assets than anybody in the draft by a mile. And they have Tua. Now, anyone who knows me from the AA group chat, which we talked about in the mock draft, will know that I have been a Tua advocate for just over 2 seasons now. I think he is going to be great. And I think with the right positions around him, he has the potential to be an elite quarterback. So I'm taking my love for Tua out of this scenario and looking at it as a GM. The situation Miami has is they have a player that wants to be in South Beach. A player who's top 5 in the league at his position, young, under contract. And the big thing is Deshaun Watson can basically hold the Texans ransom, saying that he's not trading the no-wave clause, or the no-trade clause away unless he's going to Miami. And if Miami knows this, they don't have to offer the house. People are talking about Miami. I saw someone on Twitter talking about it, saying it would cost Tua both first rounds this year, a first round next year, and a further first round. The Dolphins are not giving up 4 first round picks and Tua Tagovailoa for Deshaun Watson. I can tell you that right now. So we have to look at what they could give up. I think Tua has to go. Tua is, in the whole of the NFL, I believe it's the most valuable piece of a player, or most valuable asset that Houston can get back in this trade. Anyone who's watched the Dolphins, and a lot of people, the only Dolphins games they'll have got to watch would have been the Buffalo game and the final game of the year. And you'll have heard in the media that Tua got pulled for this and pulled for that. And when it happened, I was a firm believer that his confidence wasn't knocked. If you sit down and you watch all 22 film of Tua Tagovailoa versus the Arizona Cardinals, it's probably, I would say it is, it's the best rookie quarterback performance of the season. He marched up and down the field 2 or 3 times from his own goal line, from third downs, with no weapons. The following week, doesn't quite perform against Denver and gets pulled. Fitzpatrick gets to the end zone but gets picked off. And Tua never truly seemed to bounce back from that. He looked good against Kansas, but Kansas are playing a bend and don't break defense. It's tough to say. If I'm Miami, you have to really sit down with the ownership and Stephen Ross, Chris Greer, the GM, Brian Flores, the possible OC coming in, which is another big deal. The Dolphins are still trying to hire an OC. They had different options, a lot of them getting retained by their current teams. The current options left in the market seems to be Godsey and Studsville, two internal hires, and Pep Hamilton, the quarterback coach in the LA Chargers. You have to look at yourself and say, will Watson improve us with also giving away the picks? And I'm going to sit here today and make my opinion on the matter. And it's an opinion I've tossed and turned about, but I finally came to the conclusion. If Deshaun Watson wants to be in Miami, as long as it doesn't cost first round picks from now till the day I'm 44, I think he has to come to South Beach. I don't think Miami get this chance again. If Miami are able to trade Tua, the third overall pick, and maybe a little bit more, you're just trading them back what they already had. You're giving them Tua and their own pick for Deshaun Watson with some extra. Now, I know people are going to want to flood in my comments and say, oh, he's worth far more. You have to remember that only he can waive this clause in his contract. If he wants to leave and he refuses to play for Houston, their hands are tied. He picks where he goes, and that team doesn't have to pay market value anymore. They pay whatever they want. And it's going to really, really change the landscape of the NFL. We've looked at different teams that could want them. In the other video, I talked about teams like Denver, Carolina making a move. That seems to be out of the window. It's got to the point now where Watson has said, it's Miami. And I think Miami have to make a move on that. I had planned a video for looking at the new head coaches in the NFL. We're going to push out tomorrow. So tomorrow we're going to have a video looking at the new head coaches in the NFL. How we're thinking we're going to rank them a wee bit. But brilliant. Thank you very much for watching today. If you have any opinions on the Watson scenario, please drop a comment. Follow me on Twitter at @NFLFaulkner. On Reddit in the @NFL UK subreddit. Great people in there. Love listening to their opinions. Very, very smart individuals. But yeah, 100%. Watson is going to change NFL as we know it this offseason, and let's just find out where he goes. But I hope you have a great day. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for another upload.